In today's video, we're going to work on with the simple waveform that we did last week. So I hope you've been practicing your waves and practicing getting it looking fairly harmonious. As you can see, you can always go over your waveform and practice trying to get it looking really harmonious. I can do with some practice as well. So here we have a fairly harmonious waveform. What I want to do today is I want to look at what the simplest basic form of this two-stranded ribbon is. And when we're talking about the simplest basic form, we're really talking about the archetypal form of the horizontal figure of 8, which is what many people know this form by. So effectively, this form is a wave coming into a valley and then looping round, coming back, and here you have your horizontal figure of 8. So this is also called a lemniscate. So you basically have the round combined with the straight, and of course the round is in this part here. So this is the rounded part of our lemniscate, and the other side is also rounded here, and then this section here is our straight bit. Just like as I illustrated when we did the wave the first time, that this is the straight bit. And this is also what we've been talking about when we've done the bind and the release. So here we're releasing in the rounded bit and then binding in the straight bit and releasing in the rounded bit and then binding in the straight bit. So with the lemniscate, you have the kind of expansion in the rounded bit here. So you imagine you've got expansion in the rounded bit, and in the center, in the straight bit, the two straight bits that cross, you get your contraction. So the lemniscate unites the round and the straight and the release and the bind. But also what you find with the lemniscate is that one wing faces outwards and the other wing faces inwards. And the crossing point of the two straight bits is what's called the inversion point. So Kutzli encourages that when we draw our lemniscate, we try and experience that inversion. We try and experience the outer and then the inner and it's always, one wing is always outer and one wing is always inner. But which is depending on how you approach your lemniscate. So I'll just explain that in a bit more detail. So if you have your lemniscate, I'll draw it up big here so you can see it. So you have your a big lemniscate here. I'll draw one next to it. So to illustrate the point I'm going to make in a moment. So here you have two lemniscates. So how do we experience that outer and inner? If you imagine that you're standing next to your lemniscate, to your shape, and you're on the side of the lemniscate. So you're not on the line, but you're next to the line. I'm going to start on the outside of the line, and show you how that line then is facing that wing. This wing up here is facing outwards, whereas this wing down here is facing inwards, and it works like this. So I'm going to use the crayon, the graphite here to show you. I'm going to use this mark. So here at the inversion point where the straight crosses with the straight in the form, we're beginning to face inwards. We come to the inward facing part of the form. Now I'm back at the inversion point where the two lines cross each other, and I'm still following the line. I'm still here I'm on the inside, of course, but as I'm moving here, I'm on the outside of the form again. I hope you can see that. So in this scenario, though, if we take the wing here and we don't stand on the outside of our form, but here we're on the inside, we're facing, so to speak, inward. So if you imagine you standing with your back to the line here and you're going round, so I'm going this way, I'm facing inwards here. But as I'm coming to my inversion point, can you see what's happening? Then I'm actually here facing outward. Now I'm on the outside of the form. Still got my back to the line. And again, here we're at the inversion point. But now I'm coming to the bit where actually in the form I'm facing inward. I'm looking inside the form here. So I'll just draw that up with a couple of coloured crayons so that it becomes clear what I mean. So here we're on the outside of the form, inversion point, and I'm going to change over to the red crayon so you can see that it's changing. We're in the opposite. We're in the inward facing part of our form. So there's a polarity here. And again, we're at the inversion point. So now I'm changing and I'm back in the outside bit here. I'm starting on the outside of the form. So here we're starting on the inside of the line and we're facing in the way. Oh, I was going the wrong way there. So like that. And then we're facing in the way. So I'm moving along my line. But here I'm at the inversion point and the form, I'm stepping outside. I'm now facing outside, so the wing becomes outward facing. So I'm using the green crayon to look out, illustrate the looking out. Again at the inversion point, changing over again, because here again I'm becoming inward facing in the form. So as you can see here, you have the two lemniscates and they're the same, well, roughly the same, and yet one is outward facing when I'm standing on the outside of the form. To start with, here I'm facing outwards and then I become inward facing, as opposed to here where I'm looking into the form, because I'm starting on the inside. I'm taking the side of the form, looking into the form to start with, and then becoming outward facing. So there's a polarity there, and the polarity is really, experienced when you're working with the form. You should practice drawing the form, and the form should be, the lemniscate should be a kind of, you have a circle. Imagine you have a circle in the top, and you have a circle same size, a circle at the bottom, and they're united by a cross. Now mine is a little bit elongated actually, but the two are really united. So effectively it's a circle and another circle, and they're united by a cross. That's really the very, very basic shape for lemniscate, but I would really encourage you, I'm only showing you this to show you exactly how the lemniscate really is made up of these very simple geometric forms, and the straight line, the roundedness and the straight lines. Don't start practicing your lemniscate by drawing a circle and a cross, and then draw your lemniscate into that, because then you're not feeling the form. You should definitely practice just drawing the form, and it will say something about your constitution as well, how you draw your lemniscate. If your lemniscate is for instance, very much like this, maybe it's very, very, very rounded, then that says something about who you are in terms of your constitution and maybe your temperament, and maybe you have a lemniscate that looks much more like this, very, very, very long and slender. That will say something about your constitution. I'm not going to go into details about what it says, but just be aware that you will probably have a tendency to draw your lemniscate in a certain way, and it will take some practice. It's taken me a lot of practice. I've had my lemniscate was maybe not quite as elongated as this to start with, but it's taken me quite a while to work, and years to work on creating a lemniscate which is actually proportionately harmonious. And I did not do it by creating a circle and the cross and then kind of running in that, and that's not really what you should be doing either. So I'm just going to show you here at the end another inversion exercise. I'll change the paper and then we'll have a look at it. I've pre-drawn this exercise to show you exactly what happens with where the inner becomes the outer and the outer becomes the inner. So in this exercise, the way the line is moving, the way the shape metamorphoses creates the inversion here. In this number 6 we have the inversion starting, and it becomes clear when we do this with the colours as we did with the lemniscate. I'm hoping it will become clear to you. I think it will. So I'm just going to show you with the coloured crayons what it looks like. So we start again with the green on the outside of our form, and then we draw the red on the inside of the form, and the same all the way along through all of these. So here we're on the inside, and with the green on the outside. So here is where the magic starts happening. Here, as you can see, I'm just going to use a pencil. Here with the green, we're on the outside of the form, and then it becomes the inside here, but back into the outside here. So again, with the red, now beginning, the red is now beginning to actually transition to the outside, as you can see. Well, I hope you can see. These crayons are a bit fat, if you like, so I'm trying to draw it kind of finely with a fine point. It's a bit difficult, but I hope you can still get a sense of what's going on. So then, of course, now what's happened is, you can imagine the red is closing and the green is closing. So as you can see here, the majority of the green is on the inside, which is why I've drawn the green on the inside here. And I'm finishing with the red on the outside. So we've transitioned from an outer or an inner, the red was inner and has become an outer, and the green, which was outer, outward facing, is now in the inside of the form. So that was the extra exercise I wanted to show you. That's all for this week. I'll be back next week with a new exercise for you.